Get woke.
Get woke?
Yeah, man.
I'm already woke, boy.
I know. You just fucking shotgun that fucking Red Bull over there.
It was yummy, yum.
Red Bull's too much for me.
Why is that? Energy drinks, I mean,
It's too sweet. It's
Is
too
it?
sweet. Yeah. There's too much going on in there. Just give me coffee and give me something simple.
allegedly, it's all natural. Everything that's in the ingredients is already in your body.
Well, that doesn't. Then you wouldn't have to drink it, though.
It enhances it.
Really? Interesting.
But, I mean, the coffee you get at Starbucks is the same thing. I mean, you get it sweetened. You know how much sugar's in a Starbucks coffee like that?
No,
dude?
probably
They pump a
ton.
shit ton into it.
Yeah, of like some their classic sweetener or whatever.
For sure.
And I get some cream in it.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you had an energy drink? Like, was it a Monster or what?
Oh man. Probably. I want to say like Carl's bachelor party. Whenever
vodka Red Bull?
Yeah, the vodka Red Bull scenario, which is so dangerous for me.
Oh, ooh.
That's such a nasty mix, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much fun, but man, you talk about going into some dangerous territory with the vodka Red Bulls.
I mean, it literally gives you not wings, but it gives you wings in the, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like if you're at a bar scenario, like
Yeah.
it allows you to do so much around so many people.
So much tomfoolery.
For sure.
The vodka and the Red Bull will create, you know.
I'll just sit next to random people and start having conversations if I drink vodka Red Bull.
You do that with anything, but yeah, I mean, it's probably enhanced with the vodka Red Bull. You network, man.
Yes.
You immediately you catch a buzz and you're like, who can I talk to I've never talked to before, and like what outlandish questions can I ask them to make them, you know, like think about shit. And you're just always networking. You're always asking questions. You're always, you know, digging, you know. You should be a fucking journalist, man.
I just can't write that well. I can, but it just has to be something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Just my I don't know.
You could be like a sports journalist or you know, just any kind of, you know.
Yeah, it would be fun.
That would be.
It would be ideal.
Follow some story and try to pick it apart and find the conspiracy behind it and try to expose the truth, man. You'd be all about that
I'd
shit.
get fired real quick.
That's what journalists do. That's their job.
No, but nowadays, you know how it is with just the way the media is today. I mean, you just got to be.
You're right. You can't step on the wrong toes.
No.
You know, sometimes the truth isn't what's best.
Yeah.
But it's what they think. What they think is that the truth isn't what's best.
Well, welcome to Talk Junkies. Our junkies out there who are listening. I emailed Crow tonight. I forgot to email him yesterday, so hopefully I get an answer back probably early in the morning. He's really good at responding back with a date. Tomorrow we'll have a date.
Very nice.
A date. But hit the subscribe button. For sure do that. We're up 7 subscribers. We're at 57 now, man.
Nice. Very nice.
57. Some organic subscribers. I like it like that.
Yeah, we need to do some shit whenever we hit 100 subscribers.
Yeah. 100 subscribers. I think we should, whoever the 100th subscriber is, I don't know, we'll send them something.
Yeah.
Shirt or a
T-shirt.
gift card or something.
Yeah, T-shirt.
Right? I'm not opposed to it. I say 100 and then 1,000. Or 100, 500, then 1,000.
Yeah, we'll give out some booty shorts. Some TJ booty shorts or something.
For sure. At the 1,000th subscriber.
Maybe a shake weight.
That's when we can live stream. I think we should have them on the live stream via Skype. Not my house, but
Man, that's you're rolling the dice there.
why is that?
Just a random person.
Sure.
It's real hit or miss. You never know, though.
That's true.
You never know.
But when we get up close to that and people start seeing like, oh, I could be the 1,000th subscriber, well, yeah, it wouldn't work. You're right. We'll do something chill, though.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
But anyways, thank you for the 7 people who subscribed within the past week. Appreciate that. And maybe due to sports, but check us out on here where we talk about the real shit, man.
Fuck yeah.
So what do you think about people who dive in caves, man?
The spelunkers?
If it's spelunkers, could you find a small hole that you could fit your body through? That's all you could do is fit your body through it, and have a flashlight, and maybe some tools and some water.
And some Cliff Bars.
Would you go? Yeah, some Cliff Bars. Would you go? Would you go through that hole?
It all depends. Like if it's real tight.
Yeah.
Like I'm not claustrophobic.
You're not.
No. But a cave scenario, that would be some added anxiety going into a natural, real tight butthole cave like that. Yeah, I don't know if I do it or not. I don't know if I knew that it was planned where it's like, hey, it's about like 15 minutes tight squeeze, but then it opens up to this like beautiful cave, or some like uh what do they call that, like where there's like water inside.
Yeah, water.
Inside of
I
a
mean,
cave.
a waterfall.
It's like called something though. I'm trying
or
to
like
remember.
crystals or
Yeah, something. Then yeah, I'd be all about it. I couldn't just tight space a whole way through like a couple hours in a cave. That's too much. That's too sketchy. Especially because chances are caves like that are in places where there's snakes and shit. Poisonous snakes. You get bit by a poisonous snake, and next thing you know, it's like, yeah, spiders, man. Yeah, that's.
It makes you wonder how they found these holes in the first place and figured out how to get through them.
And who took the first risk of like going into that shit? Fuck, man.
Doesn't make much sense at all, but it happens. And there are people who have died from doing it, and they get stuck between two rocks and they can't get out. I've watched a video on YouTube of this guy who got stuck for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and finally he got out, but it was just gut-wrenching to watch someone be stuck like that. And you can see the fear in their eyes, and they're like, fuck, man, I'm stuck.
No, that sounds horrifying. That sounds horrifying. That would be an awful way to die. That reminds me of that movie 127 Hours with James Franco. That dude who had to, cut off his own arm to survive being stuck somewhere. I'm assuming the first thing you would do is you'd go with people. You wouldn't go alone. So if you did get stuck, they'd be able to, like try to help you out. Bring the.
You would hope. I mean, naturally, you'd probably be far away from anything that would be close for help or anything like that. When it comes to like EMS or emergency.
Yeah, but it'd still be better. You just obviously, I don't think you just go and do it alone though.
No. I mean, even if that were the case, are they going to be able to bring a jackhammer in and just jackhammer that? It'd probably kill you. There's no way you're dead if you get stuck.
That's what happens if that causes a cave in, and then you're like super, stuck in that shit. Yeah, fuck that.
I wouldn't do it. I can't really remember a time where I've been extremely like in a tight space like that. I think I am claustrophobic, but not. Like, if I'm in an elevator with 10 people, I'm fine, if you can consider that claustrophobia. But I've never, like, squeezed myself in a tight area. I don't think I would ever want to.
Yeah, no. Some people have, like, legitimate claustrophobia that they can't be in an elevator. Like Zach Galifianakis. Like, he has a legitimate fear of, like, he can't even be in an elevator. And he explains it as, like, this overwhelming anxiety that he's never going to be able to get out. And he's just going to be stuck in there forever. Kind of thing. Yeah, I don't have that, but
no. What is it? What I was trying to think of this the other day, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm just extremely angry. And not only am I extremely angry, but I think extremely negative. Because I'm tired, and maybe it's because I smoke cigarettes. I don't know if that affects the way I wake up in the morning, not recharged, or even if I get 8 hours of sleep, even if I'm not hungover. And I know, like, sometimes if you take certain drugs, when you come down off those drugs, you know how you get that anxiety and you feel
withdrawal. Yeah.
Well, maybe not even withdrawal. But what I'm saying is, when I wake up in the morning, I just have these thoughts in my head, and they're clear. They're very clear thoughts, but they're very negative thoughts. Do you ever have that when you wake up?
No, normally whenever I wake up, I feel really good normally whenever I wake up.
Mentally?
Yeah, mentally. I mean, unless I'm, like, hungover, and then I have really bad anxiety. Hangovers with me are always, my body feels drained, headache, and I also, like, have this underlying depression and, like, anxiety about things, and it's just not, that bothers my whole, like, mental state, physical and mental, with hangovers. But if I'm just waking up just perfectly fine, I always feel good, like just waking up, and it's not until other things happen that that life kicks in, and I'm like, fuck.
See, I
got all this shit I gotta do.
That's what hits me right when I wake up, is those things. It doesn't take a couple hours. It goes straight into effect right when I wake up. Like, I'll be super negative about, like, just for instance, maybe the podcast. I'll be like, man, I suck at talking about sports, or I suck about what we talk about, and I'm like, this is just stupid. It's a waste of time. Like, why am I doing this? But then a couple hours go by, and I just don't think about it. And because I enjoy this, I love doing it. But those are the type of thoughts that go through my head.
Just negative thoughts. Yeah, negative thoughts happen all the time. Meditation's really good for that. I know you've dabbled with meditation before, and so have I. Back when I was on my super health kick and just real focused on, like lifting and eating right and all that. And I was meditating for probably, I want to say like 10 to 15 minutes a day. And just trying to allow the thoughts that are going to negatively affect you, just allow them to pass and not like let them seed kind of in your brain and then like grow and then just like allowing them to pass kind of thing. Super difficult. Like it's not easy. But meditation's legit. People who actually like train and years of training for even like guided meditation and like just self meditation or whatever to allow them to control their thoughts kind of thing. Because you cannot control what thoughts come up into your head. Like, but it's kind of your decision whether or not you allow them to stay, kind of thing, which makes sense. Like whenever whenever I did my self-guided meditations with it was like some app. I think I can't even remember what it was called. I think I still have it on my phone. But they're like he told you, he was like, you have no control over the thoughts that come up into your head. And I was like, you're constantly thinking. You're gonna have positive thoughts. You're gonna have negative thoughts. But he was like, it's up to you to just either which thoughts are you gonna stick to. And it really is up to us. That sounds so easy, but it's actually so difficult. And I'm sure you know this too. Yeah. Like with messing around with like meditation. But no, meditation is a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Yeah.
It's just,
I'm a thorough believer in it.
It's just frustrating that for me, it's just early in the morning. And sometimes when I'm at work, because I've been doing the same job for such a long time, it's just going to come, that comes with doing that for such a long time. You're going to have negative thoughts.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay positive all the time when you've done something repetitively for 12 straight years. But I mean, minus that, there's got to be other people out there that it happens to as well.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just curious. Maybe
sure.
I need to look into it and just see why. Maybe meditating at night would be beneficial, like you said, and I've never done it like consistently for more than a week, and that's probably what needs to happen.
I don't think you should meditate at night. You should meditate right when you wake up. Actually, what I thoroughly recommend, this is what I did, is the first thing I did whenever I woke up is, first of all, I would eat, and then I would work out, and then I would meditate. So it was just like I'd wake up, nourish my body, go and have this exhausting exercise, which you always feel great after exercising. Like, it's such a good thing for the body. Any kind of exercise. If you're just going to run on a treadmill or get on an elliptical or lift weights or whatever it is, that's always healthy. And then you go take a shower, get clean, and then that's when I would just sit down in my chair. I would turn on my fan just for a little bit of like white noise in the background, and then have my self-guided meditation, and I'd go on for the rest of my day. I thought that was, very beneficial. That's when I recommend it, though, is in the morning, right when, get a solid morning routine down kind of thing.
Did you fully lay down when you meditate?
No.
Okay, so that's
no, because then I would almost want to like sleep, though.
It doesn't necessarily make you want to sleep at all.
Well, for me it did. I understand, like everybody.
Well, you just got done working out.
Yeah.
I mean, at nighttime when I do it, I lay down. It's very peaceful when you lay down.
Mm.
You're able to, your whole body, especially with self-guided meditation, if you hit the right person. I know I've recommended a few guys to you, or one guy, Michael Seeley. It's a beautiful thing, man. It relaxes the whole body. When you're sitting, you cross-leg when you do it?
No, I would just sit in a chair.
Sit in a chair?
See, I couldn't do that. Relaxed.
I couldn't do that because then you couldn't fully relax your whole body.
No, but then you just concentrate on your breathing, like how they would go through stages to where like you'd concentrate on your diaphragm and just the breathing process, and I would just try to be in good posture, and then they'd the guided meditation that I went through would always start out with your body. So it started with your breathing, and then it moved to concentrating on like this like wave that started at the top of your head and slowly moved down.
Your chakras, man.
Yeah, and then you'd feel your shoulders and then relax your shoulders all the way through your hands.
So how are you supposed to do that? Once you get to the hips, there's so much tension because you're sitting down. So
I didn't feel like there was tension.
Well, I mean, you're putting pressure on a lot of things, and you can't relax your legs or your booty hole at that point.
Everything is fucking. Even though, okay, you're right. Laying down is probably like the least amount of energy that's being expended in the human body. Probably sitting is expending, some energy, but. Come on, man. I like to sit up when I meditate. I don't know.
I like to take a shit when I sit down like that. I don't want to meditate while I'm shitting. I mean, that's just how I look at it. But, I mean, hey, you do you, man. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to front on you.
We need to look into that.
Shit meditation?
Dude, poop-guided meditations, bro.
You might.
Poop-guided meditations.
You would never need a colonoscopy.
Think about how, like, a relaxing of an experience taking a poop is, and that's normally a time whenever it's, like, your time, Dude, we need to look into this, man.
We do. Maybe we could start our own self-guided poop meditations.
Yeah, self-guided poop meditation, man. For real. That'd be some serious shit. It's gonna be our slogan.
we could do it right here, and we could literally do it on these microphones, and then just upload it, and just do a poop guided meditation.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get some views, man.
Fuck yeah.
But you and I have to sit down and actually do like the talking, like as you're sitting on the toilet. Please relax your legs.
Yeah. Relax your legs. Make sure your anus is relaxed. And dude, it could have prevented my hemorrhoid I got a couple days ago, bro, if I would have done my poop guided meditation.
See, for sure, people with hemorrhoids would hit us up hardcore.
For real.
Then we start selling toilet. Well, they have padded toilets, so never mind. But that would just relax your booty. And
yeah. Fuck yeah. And then we'll come up with like a bidet. We'll design our own bidet, man. It'll be a whole toilet guided bidet fucking experience. We'll come up with a spa, dude. It'll be like people will come and stay at our fucking toilet guided meditation fucking vacation center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right here in Kansas City, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
People flying from China to try it out.
We'll bring in Mike Tyson to do all of our commercials.
Yes.
I feel like if there's any celebrity that makes people feel comfortable, it's Mike Tyson.
I say we at least try it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm all about
Let's get the audio down and upload it and see what happens.
Yeah. We just need to make sure that this is somehow copyrighted, right?
What's that?
Through Talk Junkies, just in case somebody fucking steals our shit.
No, not at all.
We can be like, hey, man, this was on the podcast, and you're clearly subscribed to us. You stole our idea.
We can look it up and just see real quick. I mean, after the podcast and see if it's a thing, but I doubt it is.
I doubt it is. This sounds like an original idea to me. I don't think that this has been a thing. So if not, I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, well, look forward to that, junkies out there. You're gonna have a poop guided meditation on here on Talk Junkies. Jesse and I's voice.
Yeah, we're gonna workshop this. This is gonna be great.
Yes. I mean, and I'll actually try it out myself just to see how it works.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming we just experiment and then listen to some guided meditation while we poop, and then be like, man, you know what? This could be refined to where it's specifically for this experience of pooping.
Yeah. You got a pretty good voice. I wouldn't mind listening to it while I took a shit.
I'd have to refine it a little bit, but
for meditation purposes, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
what if we got Christopher Walken, bro, to do the
Morgan Freeman all day?
Oh yeah, Morgan Freeman.
And he might be down for something like that.
You're more serious about it. I was cracking jokes about Mike Tyson and Christopher Walken, but yeah, Morgan Freeman would be legit.
He seems to do it about just about anything, so why not?
Yeah, you're right. The money's there, man.
Yeah.
That dude is ageless.
He may sponsor us. You never know.
Yeah, he's been like, that'd be legit.
I see. So we talk about cave diving, and it turns into meditation, and then that's what happens. I love it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and then guided pooping meditation.
So have you ever been just driving down the road and just thinking what you would do if you just saw like a bomb drop from the sky, and you see this explosion? What would you do? And then you just start to see like helicopters in the air, and they're just like flying around, and you see like dudes dropping from the helicopters, but you see it from a distance, and you know you have some sort of time. What do?
Fuck, man, I don't know. And this is so weird that you brought this up, because I was talking with Johnny about nightmares and what our worst nightmares were. And mine was, and I've had similar dreams and like a handful of times throughout my life, but it's like me and my family, and we know that there's this imminent nuclear bomb that's going to drop, and it's this: we have no time to leave. We're like boarding up windows in the house and shit, and then I just see like the mushroom cloud in the distance, and then I just like wake up, like horribly intense, like nightmare, something like that. Like you talking about like a big bomb, like.
I mean, sure.
Like some shit's going down.
Yeah,
dude, that'd be.
And you're in your car, and where's the first place you go?
The opposite direction the bomb dropped.
Right. But you don't have a plan in place if something like that were to happen?
No. I mean, I'd get on my phone, obviously. I'd probably start driving the other way. That'd be the first instinct.
At that point, phones are going to be down if that happens.
Okay, so you're talking some serious shit.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be serious, but if the bomb were to drop, which hopefully it never does, and everyone's going to try to use their phone at that point, I think communications would be down if that were to happen. But if not, I mean, you could try calling someone. Dude, you have to have a plan in place, man. You just can't be freeballing shit like that. You never think about it while you're just in bed?
No, because that's depressing as fuck. I don't want to. And you're right. There is some responsibility to think about, like, what if some shit were to go down. But that, man, you can't spend, a bunch of time on that, because that's like super
10, 20
depressing
minutes?
to think about.
Dude,
10, 20 minutes to come up with a bomb plan.
Yeah, just while you're laying in bed. I mean, we're survival instinct, man. So I mean that it's always a possibility. We've had 2 world wars, multiple wars after that, and
Fuck, man, if phones went down, man, that'd be horrifying. That's literally like worst nightmare kind of shit. I'd probably, because my parents' house is only like 10 minutes away, I'd probably go there first and establish contact with them. The next thing I would do after that would be to try to find my girlfriend, and then I don't know, man. After that, it's just like let's go to Sam's Club and lock it down. I feel like that's the safest place to get boarded up at.
really,
They have all the supplies there. Yeah, they got all the supplies at Sam's Club, man.
so you have that mindset. I guarantee you that there are probably
Everybody else, yeah, like
Yeah.
50%. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So while you're at Sam's Club, that happens to me. I mean, obviously, I'll find my family for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go to my wife's parents' house because it's out and kind of out in the distance, kind of out in the southern Overland Park, but it's not very populated,
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, weapons are necessary to protect your family and the food that you have and the water. That's got to be the first 2 things you have to go for is food and water,
Yeah, for sure.
and then protection.
Yeah, I can see that. That's like you're talking about apocalyptic scenario. Yeah.
So I mean, preppers and stuff. I've always thought about that, and I've always wanted to buy like a year's supply of food that doesn't expire.
How do you feel? What's the importance of a CB radio?
I think that's extremely important. And
'Cause that's what I think too. Like if shit
same
were to go
time,
down,
it could be dangerous though, because you get on the CB radio and you hit up the wrong person. Granted, they're not going to be able to find where you are from a CB radio.
I'm saying to get in contact, like you have, like your family, like you get your family CB radios, and you're like, hey, just in case fucking shit pops off, you turn this on, you go to this station,
Right.
all other communication goes down. We're going to be able to still communicate there. There's a group of people, the regulars that come in. Obviously, I don't want to say their name, but and I don't want to describe them either. To where I'll tell you later. But he actually runs, like the CB radio. No, it's not like the CB radio. It's like the last form of communication, like literally the last like protection. Whenever it comes to communication, he runs this thing with like a bunch of other old guys, and they just make sure that it's like up and running and stuff. And I don't know if it has to do with CB radio. I think it does, but it's but yeah, he's like, if everything else goes out, he's like, if grid goes down, all this. He was like, this is the last way to get in contact with the National Guard, with the government, with everything. He was like, if this goes out, he was like, then there's absolutely nothing after that
at all. But
and I don't remember what he called it. It's has to do with radio signals, obviously, but it's got to be something. Yeah, it's got to be something to do with like CB radios. But
for sure, it's radios is the last form of communication.
Yeah,
it's the first form of communication. I mean, telegraphing. I mean, not telegraphing, but Morse code or whatever. That was like the first form of communication, then radio. But CB radio's legit, man, and you need it. But I think is it ran by battery? I don't know. I've seen a few, but I mean,
so you need a generator.
Yeah,
I mean, that's big.
I think
you get a generator.
Some people have it hooked into their car, so I mean, if you have that, you're
Mm-hmm.
good. And I think the others have it with radio too, or sorry, with battery. And then some probably do plug in. I mean, they're old. I don't,
Yeah, the CB radios will be around before, because they can run off just their own thing. I'm pretty sure, or like I don't know.
And we'd have to look into it.
Yeah, I'm not well versed on this.
Anyways, yeah, CB radio would be nice to have. That way you can communicate, but at the same time you don't want to communicate with the wrong person. And I don't know what the mile length is on those things. They have to be really, really long, because I know like truck drivers are able to like communicate from far places away from each other.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
So how big the antenna is and stuff like that to get reception and all that good stuff. But it would be good. But at the same time, I would want to be as minimal as possible. I mean, the less people you have, the less people you have to feed.
Communication would be important. I feel like not like right in the beginning, probably just to get everybody like settled in kind of thing. But then after like a couple months, and then you want to start establishing, because you do need to start reconnecting, and you got to rebuild the hierarchy, man.
For sure,
gotta happen.
If it were to be that case, and I guess that's where we're going to take it, I would say trying to get a city like the size of where we live, trying to get the city for everyone to buy in to where chaos doesn't happen, and blocking off the roadways to the city, entering and exiting, trying to block off all the roadways to where no one can enter, right? Because you're going to have vigilantes. It's going to be like Mad Max and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So
It'd be awful.
Block off. I guess basically try and build a wall around your city with 20, 30,000 people, start farming, all that stuff, you know? Because if you have a 20,000 people city and they're all in it together, like that city will thrive. They'll take on anyone that comes their way, in my opinion. But
you gotta hope it has to develop within its own, like nucleus there, to get established first, and then once again somebody has to be in charge of it, or there has to be like a council of people in charge of it, and then there has to be,
I would try and set that up because I do not want it to be like The Walking Dead. I do not want to be in groups of 10.
Don't hate me, man. I don't know anything about The Walking Dead.
And I'm not going to get into it. I'm just saying I don't want it to be like The Walking Dead because there's no one in the city that we live that's like Rick Grimes, and it's just not going to happen. And they always travel in like packs of 10 and packs of 20, and they can never, whenever they meet people who are still alive, they can never get along. They end up killing each other. They don't, it's like a power position kind of thing, and I just don't want that. I want the city to be together.
Sadly, that's probably pretty accurate.
Oh, for sure.
From what you're telling me, that's kind of where, like, if I had to roll the dice to place a bet, it'd probably be something like that, where just because, especially when all of a sudden just basic necessities are at such a high value, people will do shit for themselves and their families that they would not normally do at an Aldi's just trying to get,
if you could get a city to come together, I think it would be a lot easier, and that kind of shit wouldn't happen.
No, that's like the first basis of civilization is food and water have to be accessible to people. Otherwise, they will kill other people for basic necessities.
Well, luckily, we live in a city during the springtime and summertime. We do get quite a bit of rain, mostly, which I think we'd be fine. So you'd be able to plant food, and I think this city would be perfectly fine.
You can get water. You could get water here real easy. I mean, you're right. From rain, even snow, like even if it were to snow, you can, get water out of that. You can filter it. I mean,
people thought it was crazy. I brought a prepper's book, man. And it's like this thick. It's huge. Just in case I have something to reference to.
Yeah, that's not on the internet? Yeah. No.
No, it's a book.
No, I'm saying it's not on the internet to where it's not just like, oh, you could just look this up. You're like, no, when the internet's down, I have the fucking book to reference. Yeah.
Right. Just very scary, right? And it's depressing, and I feel like a lot of people, they always think about it, and a lot of people on YouTube, they're big in conspiracy theory, and they fearmonger, and they do it, and maybe they don't want, I don't know, maybe they want it to happen, maybe they don't, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like, people think the stock market's going to crash soon. They think we're in a very high bubble right now, and it's going to pop. And then they think the U.S. dollar is going to be done, which all that's very plausible. And
we've been through this so many times.
Well, we have, but it's allegedly it's going to be bigger than 2008, is what they're saying, because we just patched the bubble, and now the bubble is even bigger, and we're even in more debt. The Feds are raising interest rates right now. I think they raised it 3 basis points this year, and then they're going to raise it like 2 or 3 more points next year, which means, I mean, I don't really know what that means, because the Feds had the interest rate at 0 for a very long time, from like 2008 until this year.
Interest rate on what?
Just how much money they print, and whenever they give us extra money, like whenever we bailed out the banks in 2008, there was no interest on any of that.
There's always been interest on that.
No. We've been at 0. I think we were even negative interest rates from the Feds for almost 10 years, and now they're starting to raise the interest rates, which mean it. I know it's complex, and I didn't even know that was the case either until I started looking into and finding out.
I was always under the assumption that was a big problem with the big banks and the Federal Reserve is whenever the Federal Reserve was privatized, whenever the government wasn't in control of the printing of U.S. money, which they're not, that it was automatically there was interest on it, and that's always been the case. I didn't think that there was no interest on it.
Interest on
because the government, from my understanding, the government creates U.S. bonds.
What I'm saying is that the Feds they can switch and change the interest rates and how much that they charge.
Oh, of course.
So what I'm saying, it was at 0 for a very long time, and now they're slowly raising it back up, and that's why they're saying that there's going to be an imminent crash coming soon.
Well, that's always been a problem. We've known this for forever because it's just this constant inflation rate at like a progressive level ever since they started doing that. I mean, that was in like Zeitgeist the Addendum like they were talking about the imminent, like this is not sustainable at the way that literally how money is created.
But how's it not sustainable? That's my question.
They made it be that way. Like,
but people are always going to consume, no matter what. Is it the amount of people that are now living in the United States that makes inflation be that way?
This is what's really confusing to me, because I feel like, especially in America, that there are plenty of resources for people to live on.
Right.
I feel like you could feed the world, even other countries. Like, that's very doable. So that's always been confusing. If you have the resources, and there's plenty of land too, like it's not like everybody's standing shoulder to shoulder. I obviously know there's like highly populated cities like Japan and stuff like that, but for the most part, as far as the actual land mass of the earth, there's plenty of room for people, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of resources. Obviously, there's plenty of water. You just need to, because water never really changes. It's the same amount of water that it's always been. But no, it always confused me is why all of a sudden does this monetary, this invisible thing fucking affect so much when the resources are here, and the resources could have been much developed better over years, to establish this. But I feel like the
powers that be,
powers that be, in the system or the game that we're playing. Let me just say this: the game that we've created for this culture and the world is, says differently. Even though the physical resources are here, the fake numbers game that we created doesn't always say so, which is really weird, man.
It is, I know.
It's really.
Well, it's just,
I hope I described that well enough. And
the rich people wanting to. It's like a board game, like you said, and they're the big players in the board game. But I mean, like the stock market, it really doesn't make sense to me why it's necessary to have a stock market.
And for anybody to think that it's not a game, I would completely disagree with you. If you don't like the way that I described it, I think it very much is a game. It's literally a game people play when it comes to money. It's a game. Anyway,
it is,
I'm sorry.
100%. Yeah. No, don't be sorry. You're right.
I don't know if I cut you off. I'm trying to remember what you were saying.
Whenever you invest in the stock market, it's a game. Like
that's a game.
Yeah.
It's gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. The U.S. the country that you're in, there are a bunch of people playing a game that affect you, and it just trickles down. But they're all just playing a numbers game, and the numbers are literally just in the air, non-tangible, stuff. But the resources are there. But for some odd reason, the resources aren't so much what's important. It's the fake monetary value that's behind them, which is completely made up. As to where the resources are very real, but the numbers game is very much made up. Can you imagine if somebody, like, everything's based off a computer now, right? All it takes is one mastermind hacker who comes in and just moves one fucking decimal. And then fucking out of nowhere, everybody would fucking have everything, or nobody has nothing.
Right.
I feel like that's what it is. It's just that's scary as fuck.
It is scary as fuck.
Yeah, honestly, that should be, because that's what would cause an apocalypse. Before a bomb did or anything like that. You're right. If you have all of a sudden the U.S. dollar goes to complete shit, to where now it's like $100 to buy a loaf of bread. Dude, that's when the real apocalypse happens. It won't be because a nuclear bomb drops or some disease, fucking kills a bunch of people. It will be over some stupid fucking invisible, number shit that fucking happens that really gets everybody.
Yeah, which is unnecessary and doesn't even need to happen. But it's just the game that the powers that be want to play. And it doesn't truly really make sense, like you said. But it's just, it is what it is when that happens. And China's selling millions and billions of dollars of debt. Of U.S. debt. I think Venezuela is no longer going to look at, or they're no longer taking U.S. dollar as I forget, they dropped the dollar is basically what I'm saying. So I mean, we have multiple countries selling our debt and no longer using the dollar. So it's a weird time, man. And I think it's all because Trump is.
Is it a good time to get back into cryptocurrency?
I mean, it depends on who you watch. I mean, you have people who say no, you have people who say yes. I mean, is blockchain the future of life and the future of humanity? I think so, because no one owns it. No one owns blockchain. No one owns the blockchain or Bitcoin or I mean, you data mine it, and I guess there are people who can. I don't know. There's a certain amount of Bitcoin. There's no more.
That's also been very confusing to me too.
Right.
It's not like I'm still waiting for just the simple system.
Right.
Just give me a simple fucking
blockchain
system.
is. I mean, Bitcoin is a simple system.
Oh, I'm sure it's more simple than.
Takes out the middleman. Credit card companies no longer can make money off of you. I mean, you don't get charged. Like restaurants.
There's no credit card company that's made money off me. Actually, yeah, because I have fucking annual fee now that I think about it.
Yeah,
God damn
drop
it.
that credit card, dude.
Well, I had to. My credit was so bad that I had, and I do need to get rid of that credit card. But I was using it to, which I.
How many years have you had it for?
That one almost 3.
Yeah,
so it's time. Because my credit's.
What's the annual fee?
It's like $25.
No, that's not bad.
A year.
I would keep it because that helps your average age line of credit up.
Yeah, no, that's why I've kept it.
But anyways,
it's still $25 for something that I don't even use. But
right, for Bitcoin and blockchain though, it takes them out of the equation, and that's why America doesn't really like it, because the credit card companies would no longer exist. Because like I was saying, restaurants get charged. Let's say, so where we work, every month we pay $4,000 in credit card fees. That's every month because people they use credit cards.
Because it costs like a fraction of a cent every time you run a card. Yeah.
So this would take them out of the
Also
equation.
boggled my mind whenever I learned about that, about like 4 or 5 years ago, that it cost a company money to just have a Visa being swiped to allow that transaction from Visa, even though Visa's potentially already making money off this one individual anyway, because they're loaning the money.
Correct.
But you can't have an establishment without having, Visa and debit and MasterCard and all that to be used.
Cryptocurrency takes that out of the equation, and you're able to send money anywhere and everywhere. You don't need Western Union. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You literally on your phone, you say, "Hey, I want to send Deng Yang from China $50," and you send it to him through blockchain.
Deng Yang.
Yeah. You just give it to him, man. It's simpler, and I'm sure you've watched videos on YouTube on how it works and shit like that.
Yeah, and people keeping the ledger, and I've dabbled in it whenever it first was really, really talked about.
Yeah. Well, there's very rich people involved with Apple and Google, guys who have a lot of money who really believe in blockchain and they think it's the future of currency. And
see, but this is the thing. There's nothing wrong with a credit card company, though. I don't see anything wrong with a credit card company.
I don't either,
because
you have to
nobody's
be
forcing anybody to get a credit card. But what's happened is there's been irresponsible people that have spent more than their means, and then all of a sudden don't pay that back and file for bankruptcy, and then there's just this empty money that's owed that is now, never going to get paid, and then where does that go? That happens all the time.
Oh,
and then debt gets sold and then moved around, and then you have all these,
But
it'd be a lot better, right?
The credit card companies are the ones who created that, because the limits that they allow people to have, and then the interest rates that they charge are
they're
outrageous,
scamming motherfuckers. Yeah.
for sure. But I mean, yeah, you're right. People not being responsible.
And clearly, they're still making money. It's not like they're losing out on money. It's not like people scammed them over. They're still making a shit ton of money through people being in debt. Like, that's still a thing. It's not like the system doesn't work for them on an upper, like company level kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you're right. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, there's something wrong with the system, because in order to basically live in America, the best country in the world, you have to have credit to buy things.
Yes. And, okay, so you need more reasonable interest on our money whenever we put it into savings accounts in banks and stuff like that. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be.
Like back in the 50s and shit, when people actually made money from having their money in a bank, like in return, it has to be reciprocated in some way. As to where now we don't get shit for having money anywhere.
You have to risk your money, or you have to spend your money with credit cards that give you cash back and shit like that, and you have to spend a lot of money in order to and then just to receive that cash back, which, I mean, you'd have to have a business at that point to make money off cash back shit.
Like what if you actually made even like 3% cash back on whatever's in your savings account, like every quarter? That'd be fucking awesome. Like, fuck yeah, man. Like, you can, and then just literally pump that back into your savings account, because you're being responsible. Like, and then you put more money into it, and that could turn into some stuff. But
I mean, where would the bank get money to do that kind of stuff, though?
It used to be that way.
Right, but then something went wrong to where they wanted to make more money, obviously, and that's probably why they stopped doing it. But if everyone did that, they wouldn't have enough money to pay everyone that money.
It probably ended up to where the upper echelon had so much money, and you have to cover their interests first. They have to make theirs first, kind of thing. So then it had to get away from us.
Yeah, then slowly morality just left the United States, and everyone's for themselves, which is just the way it is. But
see, but that's not how the universe works, though, which I think is really like. It's just not how the fucking universe works, and the monetary world doesn't match how actually what I believe in. This might sound a little spiritual, but it's how the universe and how we are biologically and how we interact is you have to help somebody else first.
But you and I both know America's never going to be that way. We've already discussed that.
Could be one day, within hopes that's
that's like second level humanity shit, and we're not even at the first level. We're at like 0.5 maybe.
Yeah. Well, what's that like saying? Like if you want to be happy, if you really want to be happy, go make somebody else happy first, and then happiness will come to you. You just can't buy your happiness. Go help somebody else out first. Do something nice for somebody when the opportunity's given. But the happiest people in the world, dude, fucking, they don't have very much money. All they do is like volunteer and shit. You ever see people that run 5Ks all the time and volunteer?
Where do they live though?
Well, I don't know, but they're happy. All I know, I don't know their monetary scenario.
Sign me up, man.
But I know they're happy as fuck, dude.
If I could just volunteer and help people and still live here in this house and pay all my bills, sign me up. I would do it.
I know, right? I know, because we still got to bring in the money. But that's all I'm saying. That's how the universe works for like true happiness and well-being and shit like that.
You think that's how the universe works until you get a flat tire or you lose your job or you get shot while you're in war. Obviously, that's how the universe works, but you think that if you do something nice and then something bad happens to you, it just happens to you, man. It's just bad and good.
That's true. And you can't... And also, bad also, has an effect too, which is necessary. Because you can't have good without evil. You have to have the duality between the two.
Right.
For the universe too. The universe is a very confusing fucking thing.
It is.
This is what I know is that the way that money has shaped America, and don't get me wrong, I think capitalism has been the best go around.
Is it capitalism or democracy?
Capitalism. For sure this is capitalism that we're talking about right now. I still think that capitalism is the best way to go about things financially in a civilization and a culture. As opposed to like socialism or fascism.
100%.
But at the same time, it has its own problems that go along with it. That goes against the grain of what good human beings should be doing as far as flourishing. Because then you start becoming selfish and you start what can I obtain, and it really goes against what true human beings should be.
Right. And the scary part about it is with capitalism, we've had capitalism since this country started, right?
This country was founded on on a capitalistic idea.
The scary part with capitalism is with the progression of technology, and eventually within the next, who knows, I'm not going to give it a speculation, but let's say 50 years, maybe even 100 years, how many jobs will be necessary in that span of time in 100 years with the progression of technology? And at that point, let's say that it cuts the workforce in, let's say 1/3 of the workforce it cuts down, and it's going to be a majority middle class and poorer people, right? Like people in McDonald's, they have robots doing shit now there, and they have humanless McDonald's, right? So what is going to happen to those people? They're going to go search for jobs, and then in 100 years, once you can't find those jobs, what is capitalism going to look like at that point? Because at that point, welfare is going to be insanely massive. They're going to literally have to be paying out money to people. And I know Mark Zuckerberg's talked about it and Google's talked about it, to where we literally, I forget what it's called, but we literally they give people checks once a week or once every other week, and they just pay them checks for nothing.
You're just talking about welfare.
Well, it's not. There's a word for it, and I think I've told you about it. But literally, yeah, it's basically welfare. But yeah, you get paid a check to do nothing because there's no need for it.
And there's a problem with that too, because then you become a prisoner of a system, and then you never realize
your true potential.
No, a massive human as a part of this every human being has needs they have to fulfill, and if you don't fulfill some of these needs, you end up becoming very depressed, and all these bad things happen. One of them, I'm not going to get into to all of them. I'd have to research them anyway. One of them is definitely contribution. We have this inherent need to feel like we're contributing to something, putting in some forth of effort. Nobody just wants to be doing nothing in a fucking basement, just playing fucking video games all the time, not going out into the world, not influencing people, not doing any kind of work, even though a lot of people think that, oh, they're just lazy. They, deep down, they're probably extremely depressed and completely unhappy with themselves, and maybe they haven't come to the realization yet that what they need to do is start contributing to something, which, like, be a cog in society and start having a positive effect, or even just an effect in general. Work is one of those things. Like, I don't care if you work at McDonald's. That's still a sense of contribution.
For sure.
It gives you a sense of value that you're bringing to the table.
What happens in 100 years when capitalism doesn't work? Because when you cut one-third of, let's say one-third or even half of the jobs in America, capitalism no longer works at that point.
You still find...
Am I right, though?
You still find... Yeah, you're right. You still find ways to have self-worth and create value. And people are just going to have to be more intuitive with it.
Right.
Maybe.
We're going to have to move on from capitalism at that point because it's not fair to anyone except, right? I mean, I guess it would be different because it's slowly going to progress into that, and maybe right at the forefront of when that happens, it's going to be... The
main problem with capitalism isn't that, because capitalism creates a whole bunch of value and work ethic amongst people because all of a sudden there are no limits, right? You're like if you just, what's the point of working for a socialist society? Why would you go and work so hard if, 80% of what you make is literally just going to go to the government and you have no control over it? What's the motivation in that?
There's none. There's zero.
Yeah, it doesn't create very good motivation. Capitalism creates a ceilingless or a boundless place for you to just be able to pretty much, as hard as you work, that's what you're going to receive back, kind of thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, but the problem it's created is nobody plays a fair game anymore because the super rich now control and don't let the majority, because it's still supposed to be run by the majority of people, doesn't matter rich, poor, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your religion, everybody gets a fair say in how the government's ran. It's completely changed because now you have a 1% that is deciding everything for everybody else because of the amount of money that they have, and then they're not even contributing a fair share of taxes, like how we are. They're able to get out of that shit, and then now it's this complete unbalance. So this is where capitalism has gone wrong. It's not that capitalism within itself is wrong.
Right.
It's people have fucking found loopholes and corrupted it.
Think about it, though.
Like everything has a potential to be corrupted.
Sure.
If everybody was honest, then this would be perfect.
Think about it.
Near perfect. I'm sorry, there'd still be flaws. But
I love how you just described that. And the reason I say that is think about the situation of how capitalism came to be about and the time that it did. And for it to happen the way it did, because we left Europe, right? Or to come to the United States because of oppression and taxation and all that stuff.
We didn't like the fact, oh, you were just born into a family, so you get to decide how I live my life.
Exactly.
No, fuck you.
Right.
No, fuck you. I get to decide my own life.
What they thought about in the Constitution of the United States, it is a very beautiful thing. The amount of freedom that it gives to an individual is beautiful. It truly is.
Yes.
And it's just crazy that it happened then. In what it was supposed to be and what it meant to be is a beautiful thing.
Yes,
but it's frustrating, and it's just crazy that those people took advantage of the situation, and there was nothing anyone could do about it because there was no technology, there was no phones, there was no really police. It was the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, the late 1800s, early 1900s. Like, these people had insane amounts of just opportunity to go through those loopholes and just create what they have created now in today's age.
Yeah.
And just get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now we're at a point in time
because you look at what has happened. So we left Europe, what you just said, because we were frustrated at the fact that there was a monarchy, and just because you're born into a family does not give you the right to decide how I'm going to live my life, and you decide where all the money goes, and you get to decide all this for me when I'm an individual, and we're actually the same. We're actually the same because we're both human beings. So what gives you the right? So now I'm going to go and create my own government to where I get to decide my leader. I get to decide the laws that I live by. I get to decide everything.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is you have a bunch of fucking assholes that do, and this is partial conspiracy, which I'm not even going to get into that, but now you have families, once again, that take advantage and take over shit, but they realize, oh, we can't be upfront about it and be a monarchy anymore. We have to sit back on the sidelines and just control the money. But it's still families that fucking control everything.
100%.
God damn it. I didn't want to get super conspiracy theory with it. But that's how it is.
Anyone with the right mind knows. I mean, dude.
That's exactly
how
it
is. There are 6 corporations that own all media outlets. I mean, it's just, you can look at the spider web and it goes back to like one source or 2 or 3, 4 sources.
So would you say it's almost come full circle again to where we're facing a monarchy? And this is what's happening. But this is what they know now, though. Is they realized they have all this history that they've learned from, and they realize you cannot oppress people to the extent to where they flip the script. You cannot make them suffer so much to where they go against you, and then they riot.
They found the balance. They found the balance.
They found that perfect. That's exactly what it is. They found that perfect fucking balance.
Well, the United States
to
has
where
anyways.
To where we're still content. But they still get away with all their bullshit, but they have not fucked with us enough to where we're like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's go fucking guillotine these motherfuckers. Let's go burn their fucking houses down.
Right.
Let's start fucking over. They found that fucking sweet spot. That's the fucking shit,
Well,
man.
and even if that shit were to happen and shit does hit the fan and like a revolution happened, they would be gone. They would be in a bunker somewhere. And then once all the shit's done and over with,
they've planned for fucking every scenario possible. Right. They're ready for it because that's what scheming evil people do now.
They're going to control it for a very long time. That's the crazy part about it.
Yep.
Capitalism, like you said, it's a very beautiful thing, but the circumstances of events that have led to where we are today, in a way, it's disgustingly beautiful. It really is, man.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
And I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect system that doesn't allow, because like I said, capitalism would work, right?
I think
capitalism would work a lot better if all of a sudden you changed up some stuff and you force people like politicians to be a little bit more honest about, some things and about where money's going and who's actually in control and bring that to the public. But I think this always happens.
Yes.
I think
it does.
Yeah, always happens.
But it wouldn't be perfect, you're right. But if capitalism combined with the Constitution were to actually happen in the way that it's supposed to happen, it would be a beautiful place to live in.
Yes.
It wouldn't be a utopia. People would still be people.
Because there's always going to be evil. There's always going to be evil. There's not going to be any perfect world. And don't get me wrong, this is still a lot better than what it was, a couple hundred years ago. Don't get me wrong. But we still,
we have a long ways to
go. There's still a bunch of things that need to be fixed. But yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just to think about it like that, I never really have. So it's just cool to just get that aspect on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just the true mob, man. True mob. They're like Mafia times 10, which I don't even know what you would call that.
Oh, it's more than times 10, man.
Yeah.
It's more than they laugh in the face of the mob. They literally laugh in the you run shit. They'd be like, "Oh, you run shit." Yeah. Laugh in their face.
I maybe wouldn't love to sit down with the richest person in the world and just like have a conversation with them because they're evil as shit, or the person with the most influence.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
The person with the most influence in the world right now. I would love to sit in a room with them and just have a conversation, but that would never happen. It'd be kind of weird. I don't know what I'd say to them.
I don't know. They wouldn't say anything honest to you anyway, so it wouldn't matter. That's what I think, man. Yeah. They wouldn't give you anything.
Do you think that person's potentially an alien?
You never know. I don't know. That doesn't make me feel any better or worse about anything.
Do you think that maybe that since they're so rich and they've been that way for a long time, or in this group of people, that maybe they have a cure for all illnesses and aging?
Fuck, man, that's a possibility. Because I think technology is extremely suppressed, just also because of capitalism and the fact that we never get the best of anything and it slowly comes out. But
we know that it's the case with technology, that they just basically, it trickles down and they have future technology, but they don't give it to the masses until years and years and years later.
If there is going to be some cure, if you call that, I think human beings were meant to only live so long. I don't think we were meant to be immortal. I don't.
What about the Bible though? It states that we lived for hundreds of years.
Oh,
in some cases.
Come the fuck on.
You
You're
don't think
talking about
that's-
Methuselah. Methuselah, the oldest living man, was like, I don't know, like 900 years, 800 years old, or some bullshit, man.
It doesn't have to
that's
be
such
900
bullshit.
years, but there's people that
You want to live 800 years? I don't want to fucking live 800 years.
I mean, I don't either. Depending on the time.
Yeah, no,
I
no,
mean,
thank you.
What's his name? Methuselah.
Yeah, Methuselah, according to the Bible, is the oldest living person ever.
You don't think it's a possibility that someone lived that long?
Back then, fuck no.
Why? Remember oxygen, bro.
Because
Oxygen, man. Remember that? Oxygen was so prime and juicy and wet.
no.
And you could just suck in that oxygen, and it
No.
made you just feel good and sexy
no,
inside.
maybe 100 years. We have
Maybe 100 years. We've already done that.
yeah, no, and that's
I
probably where it would stay.
I don't believe in a time where they said that the average age of a male was 40 years old. I don't believe in that.
Without the technology or the medicine, that
I don't believe
seems,
in that. I don't believe that.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of European, and they did some some not safe shit. They weren't very clean. They were doing sketchball fucking surgeries. They were getting drunk all the time. They weren't drinking clean water.
For sure.
Their diet was fucked.
So is that just for the Europeans? I'm talking about, what about the Native Americans? You know, I'm sure
Native Americans? See, you can't just say, oh, the average age, because chances are you're talking about the European population is where that came from. Whenever they're like, oh, the average age of somebody was 40 years. I guarantee you they were talking about European culture. They weren't. You're right. They weren't talking about like Pacific Islanders or
So you don't think
or
that,
Indians
you don't,
or
you don't think that there's any way to alter the DNA inside of a human being to make them live longer?
No, I'm not saying that's not a possibility. I think technology is limitless, literally limitless. We will, sure, at some point they'll be able to transfer consciousness or whatever and be able to have somebody be immortal. But yeah, no, but fuck that shit.
It'd be crazy if they invent something to reverse aging. So when you're like 90 years old, they could reverse the effects of aging.
Fuck it, just make a clone of your exact DNA, speed up the process, transfer consciousness.
I want to see regret. I want to see him reverse it. That's what I want to see.
That seems a lot more difficult than just creating a
I think
clone
it'd
and
be cool as
transferring
fuck, though.
consciousness.
I think
They'll
it'd be cool
do
as
that
fuck.
before they do that. Sure,
I think
sure that sounds cool.
I think that people back in the day,
I'm still waiting for some shit to get my dick bigger, and they need to do that before they fucking have the fucking immortality shit.
Yeah.
Steps,
What
baby
about-
steps,
dude,
Paul. Baby steps.
Trees live for hundreds of years. Why not humans? What's the difference? Why do trees get to see everything but we don't?
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I mean, biologically, we're a little bit different than trees, Paul.
Tad bit.
Oh God.
But the
I gotta
roots-
piss. This got intense tonight.
All right. Well, yeah, same here, man. Hopefully you guys like the podcast. That's the second free ball podcast we've had in a row, and I like both. So
Yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah.
The no structure thing. Yeah, I like it.
it is. It's fun. It's cool, man. I hope you guys like it. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification. That way, you know when Jesse and I have a video that just pops up.
For sure.
So to all our junkies out there, hit the bell and.
Oh, was it stay fly and ring the bell?
Yeah.
Am I bringing that back? Did I say that last time?
I think we tried.
Okay. Yeah, stay fly and ring the bell.
My junkies.